Sisters of the Light. I'm Ann Keither, and I'm here, like always, with my buddy Terry Ann Russell. Hello, Miss
Hey,
Terry. Yes, and Miss Terry is Utah? Is that where you are
Oregon.
visiting?
Yep.
Oregon, visiting her son. Oh,
Look
it
at
looks
all
like
that green.
yeah,
It
that
probably looks like that by you, though, doesn't it?
does. Yeah, Tennessee right now is very green. It's absolutely beautiful. But yeah, so how's the weather over there?
Freezing. I've been freezing. I'm wearing this big sweater. I've been having a robe on at night. I had a big sweatshirt on. I left Arizona, it was 96 degrees. I went to Mount Shasta, it was 74 degrees. I came to Oregon, it was 54.
Oh, your body hasn't got used to the changeover yet.
Man, there's people out here in t-shirts laughing at me. They're like,
Oh
what's
my
wrong with this
God.
girl?
Today is our first day that we put on the AC here in the house
Oh,
because
wow.
almost to like, I think it was like 86 or something. But yeah, but
That's
it was
hot.
still, yeah, it's hot, but it was still not unbearable. So
Hmm.
I can handle that.
Not
Arizona,
like Arizona.
at least in California, sometimes where we were when it got into the hundreds. No, thank you. It's just too hot. I
Oh, I
don't miss
do
that.
see Cherie is on. So
Hi,
Cherie, our
Sheree.
number one fan, is with us,
She
Cherie.
is our
We
number
are so
one
appreciative
fan.
of Cherie.
She is. She rocks it, and her compliments that she gives us are just outstanding. So yeah, thank you,
So
Sherry.
yes, thank you. Thank you for watching us.
Yeah, and then so tonight it's just really keeping it real, honestly, because Terry Ann is on her trip. And me down here, we haven't connected at all. So we're just going to have Terry Ann got a new deck of cards, and she's going to draw a card for tonight to see what comes up, and then we'll just play off the card and see where it takes us. Yeah,
Okay, I'm
love it.
one-handing shuffling here.
All right.
Okay. Ooh, I love this. It's creation, and I'll show it to you. Remember your thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
shape your future. Your words create today. Your choices become your reality.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So creation is such an integral part of who we are. And so often, so many people, I don't know about you, but my clients are like, what? I create my reality? Like, this
Mm-hmm.
reality sucks. And I'm like, honey, I know. I've
Yeah.
been there, but it actually does. And I always tell them what we are thinking about today, our powerful thoughts, is creating our tomorrow.
Yep. Yep.
And it doesn't happen that quickly, but you know what I mean.
No, I totally agree. And I think, I'm one of those believers that I think we even created our reality before we even got here, before we were even birthed here, because that was hard for me to digest that for the longest time that we make our own reality. Because when I used to be doing the 9 to 5 job, Monday through Friday, I used to say that, like, are you kidding me? Like, no, there's no way that I said that this, but yes, because we're here for the experience, and that was the experience that I chose. But I do have the free will to change it if I want to, but I never did because of the fear. Well, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? I've already put like 5 years into this business. Why would I leave now, to go start all over again? But if I would have known that before, then I should have done it before, because if I would have pivoted or changed to what I was really wanting to do, then I bet you a whole new life. Well, it would. A whole new life would have came about from that. But we do
Yeah,
it
I've really been
hard.
getting lately for myself we've talked about this, all the changes that I have coming up. And for my clients, one of the biggest things that I've been getting for myself and clients is leap of faith.
Mm,
It's designed to take that leap of faith, which is creating, but not knowing. Like, we don't know. Like, I always describe it as there's so many roads you can go down, right? Say
right.
you have 5 choices in this life and you can be here or there or do this or that. And you have these 5 roads in front of you now, and you're like, which one do I take? Which one is the right one? There's so many variables of each one that determines such a different life that will come out of that road.
Right.
How do you know which one to take? And it's like, what I've been hearing constantly from myself and others is the leap of faith. You
Yeah.
have to go with which road that you think is the right road for you right now.
Hmm.
and take that higher perspective of thinking, where you're thinking now with the higher perspective, which is the road that I choose will be the road that I'm supposed to be on.
Yeah. And that's exactly, and and that is truly thing, because that was another battle, was the whole faith, God, and stuff like that. Like I don't say God anymore, because to me, being imprinted in my brain when I think of God, right? I think of this one man up in sky wearing a freaking long dress, and he's watching
Mhm,
over millions and millions of us. It just doesn't work that way. So I have to say spirit or
mhm.
Lord, because it just flows. And I know that that is just a greater power that is so much out there. And it's not only out there, it's within me too. So getting back to that leap of faith, when I don't have the answer and it's driving me nuts, when I really just quiet my mind and just ask, and just have faith that what I'm getting and what I perceive that I'm getting, it is the right path, and it always seems to work that way.
Yeah,
But
I'm
when my
getting chills.
logical mind goes the other way, I do have to say there is sometimes it'll go, but not as flowing as if I would have took the other route that I downloaded. Yeah.
Right. And it's hard, really, sometimes. We've talked about this several times. We have husbands, we
Yeah.
have children. How do we really know? It's like there's so many other people to consider sometimes, too. It's not just us. It was like if it was just me, I'd go live on the beach and sell seashells, it'd be fine.
Yeah. But you're right. You're right. It's so true, because you hear people say, "Oh, you just got to trust and just go with it." Well, exactly what you just said. You have other people that are in the equation too, right? So it has to be, when you
Mhm,
ask, I think it just not then you would have to say, "Well, just not for me,
mhm.
all of us, what we should do in this situation to support all of us." I think it's how you question, I guess, that answer that you're looking for, and you put it out there to see what comes, right?
Yeah, I always say for the highest and greatest for all involved,
Right.
which means that everybody that's involved, it's the
Mhm.
highest and greatest for everybody, not just me, not just him, not just the children, but for everybody involved. Or,
Right.
like when you're buying a house from somebody, for the greatest all, good of everybody involved. So and I think there's so many variables. Like I said, I think when people are looking to follow this spiritual path, they think it's cut and dry. It's
No.
black or white. It's this way or that way. It's like this road or that road. And what I've found is there's so many variables that
Mhm.
determine everything that we do. And sometimes it's like you're a rat in a friggin' maze.
Mhm. I agree, but that's where I think, when you're with that person, like in the family or anything like that, you have to already be in aligned, in agreement on that path.
Mhm.
Because if the other half is not in agreement, that's where the turbulence starts. Even when your path is saying, "No, this is where you're supposed to go."
Right.
And I mean, if it's a true calling and it's really meant to be, I think that's where tribulation could happen. Well, I've had a couple of friends that have left their faith
Mm,
life to go out on their own and become the gypsies, because that was their calling. And granted, they are happier now than ever. But I do have to say, like you were saying, there was maybe something already missing in the marriage before. So that other person saying, okay, if you really
yeah.
feel this is what you want to do, whatever. But it's a give and take. It kind of like your situation where you guys are going, and your husband might have the chance to move out here to Tennessee.
Hmm.
Um, that it has to be, you have to play together. Like, yes, maybe it's not my time, right? Not that it won't happen, but
Right.
maybe I have to do
Mm,
this for him, but then maybe that's the way it's supposed to be anyhow. You're
for
supposed
me
to help,
too.
yep,
Hmm.
you're supposed to help him, guide him, get him situated, help him get where he needs to be, and then now it's your turn. right?
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because when we moved to Sedona, I mean, I'm telling you, the harebrained things that I've told him, which wasn't harebrained, it was guidance, it was fully guided.
Right, right.
Sometimes to him, it seems like it's harebrained because he's like, oh, what? I told you, we built a big, beautiful house in Gilbert. We were
Mhm.
just there 2 years, and I'm like, we have to be in Sedona full time. Well, everything aligned perfectly for us to buy the business, for us to move to Sedona. We knew we were meant to be there.
Right.
Everything flowed so easily. And I think for him to take that leap of faith was not easy for him to do. He was very much out of his comfort zone.
Mhm.
Now our roles are sort of reversed,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's him that's saying, it's time to go. And
Right.
I'm like, what?
Mhm.
What? No, because I belong here. I think my soul really does feel like it belongs in Sedona. And it's one of those things that is difficult as a human to like say to myself, well, then I'll never be in Sedona again. Not right now.
Mhm. Right.
So leaving Sedona for me is sad, but
Mhm.
starting anew and fresh, which is what my soul also loves to do, is so enlightening for me because it's so refreshing to
Yeah.
do that. But I'm the one now, the roles are reversed for me to be the one to trust. And
Mhm.
because, when you're intuitive and I'm like, all right, spirit said this and that, or Anthony said this and that, all right, I'm going, it's easy. But
Right.
for him, it was not easy. So now the roles are reversed and he's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm being guided to do this. I think this is where we need to be. And he's always been very intuitive. We talked about this too with husbands, right? They're very intuitive.
Mhm.
They always don't say or use the words that we use, like spirit told me I need to be in Tennessee.
Right, 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 right.
But we know what they mean, right? We
Yeah.
know that they are using their intuitive abilities to, like, I trust him completely.
Mhm.
If he tells me something, I fully trust in what he says.
Yeah.
And I also trust the universe. So I understand
Mhm.
that if we, in our situation, are supposed to be in Tennessee, that's where we'll be
Yeah. I agree.
without having any resistance to that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it also is there's a form of fear in there,
Hmm.
because I used to like, don't get me wrong, I love Sedona. Sedona was my big opening. It really helped me open up. And we talked about
Hmm.
that a while because it can go two ways for people. It can
Oh,
be an
yeah.
opening or it could really bring out this side of you that you don't want to come out because of all the energy. Um, but one thing I realized, like the more I kept on going back to Sedona and stuff and doing my thing, and it gave me my zen. I guess where I fell in love towards the end was it was Anne's time. I wasn't on anybody else's time, right?
I
But
love that.
also with that, I also realized that I can have Sedona everywhere I go. I don't have to go to Sedona to get that calling, to get that love. Yes, it is like a feeling like I'll never, like, I can't express it unless you go there, but I do have to say that wherever you go, it'll be your Sedona. You just need to make it your Sedona.
Right.
You
Well, have you been to Mount Shasta?
No, I heard it's beautiful.
Oh,
I have some really
my
good friends
gosh.
up in that area.
The energy there was phenomenal.
Mhm,
Nothing like Sedona. Nothing like Sedona. Totally different energy for me.
mhm.
But I fell in love, and how I know,
Yeah.
people are going to probably laugh. How I know,
Yeah.
my soul cries. The first time I was going to Sedona, but I had just gotten divorced. I was driving by myself.
Mhm,
Um, I was supposed to go straight as if you're going up the 179. My GPS said to go that way. Something told me immediately to go around down through Cottonwood on 89.
mhm,
The second I pulled off and got through Cottonwood, which is where we lived for 3 years, I started bawling like crazy. I
mm,
was crying and crying, and I felt such a love and held in this capacity that at that time I had never experienced before. And
yeah.
my soul knew that it was home.
Oh my
So
god.
it was amazing. Now, Mount Shasta, the same friggin' thing happened.
Oh,
I
yeah.
drove, Sophia and my daughter and I drove up the mountain. I cried like crazy because it was like there was this knowing within me that I've
Mhm.
been here before. I visit actually, what I was told that night was I actually do visit a lot in my astral travel to Mount Shasta.
You're kidding me. Oh my gosh. But do you know what? I wonder if you're feeling it more up there because, like we were saying, and you know what? I don't think you're silly for the
Mhm.
crying because when I
That's
had
my
that
body.
huge awakening in Sedona, I was very emotional because
Mm-hmm.
that love that I have never experienced came over me. It was, and then even in my writing, when I would get closer to Sedona, and I would start my journaling, it would always start out with welcome home, you
Mm, I
know.
love that. Oh my gosh.
But with you, I wonder if the with Shasta, like we were talking before, because Sedona is so beautiful, but it's getting so saturated with tourists that up there in Lake Shasta, I don't think you're getting the amount of people there. So you know what I mean? So you can feel that energy again. Does make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a tiny, it reminds me a lot of like, have you been to Old Town Cottonwood?
Yes, I
Yeah,
love
we went to dinner
so
there.
yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Old Town Cottonwood.
It's
Mm.
beautiful. The only thing is it gets a lot of snow there, girl.
No, I wouldn't live there. What about you, Cherie? Have you been to any places that your soul just recognized, or even without your soul even recognizing? For me, it's chills and crying. My soul has a recognition because I'm clairsentient that I feel a lot. So when I get to some place, I either know A, I belong there, or B, I don't.
The place just without the crying other than Sedona, but Sedona is more of a spiritual, but a place that I've been to before that I'm like, it just feels so homey to me was out in Wyoming. There's something
Wow.
about the plains and stuff that I just love. I think that's why I love Tennessee so much. I
Mm.
think in my past life, like I love the olden days, like, the movies like Little House on the
It's
Prairie.
on prairie, as I
I
was gonna
love
say. I
that
could
kind of
totally see you.
kings and queens era, and then I love that the working on the farm. And even in my one of my past life regressions, when she said, look down and what are you wearing, and I was telling her that my hair was up in this big bonnet. I was wearing not a poofy dress, but I had a bib on. And then when I walked
Mhm.
outside, I was standing on our cabin door. So I think that's just, yeah, and I can totally see it too. I can, yeah, I can feel it and I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny when you have those remembrances and it's like, wow. I mean, when you think about it, how many lives our soul has lived on planet and off planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so amazing that how like certain things resonate with you. Like I know fully Tim and I lived in the Verde Valley at a time in a past life. We were actually not together at the time. We were actually um let me think. It was his wife at the time had passed, and he was like a I forget what they call it, like a trail hand or something. But he was working with my husband, and so we were going across, and coming into the Verde Valley. So that's how I knew him, but we had a connection. I'm getting chills now.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so
Let's see what
Cherie
Cherie
wrote,
says.
I can definitely feel if I belong there, even in groups of people. I feel it or recognize where I fit or need to be. Mm, yeah. So we're talking
So
about
can you describe that? What does it feel like to you when you say you recognize you fit or you belong there?
mhm.
Because for me, I get this clairsentient of knowing, like it's just cognizant. I just know, and I feel it because I'm so like I feel it within my bones, within my blood. It's like
Yeah.
it's so hard to describe. I know.
No, I get it. You know what? A long time ago, uh, gosh, before I think I was, yeah, I wasn't even married to my husband yet. There was this one place going down the coast, San Clemente, and I always looked at it, and there are palm trees. For some reason, I always stared at the palm trees when we went around this one turn. And I just loved the way it looks because then you see the ocean behind it. And every single time, it always stuck in my head that those palm trees. And then, lo and behold, a couple of years later, I marry my husband. And that's where, when we got stationed on Camp Pendleton, we got the north side, which was San Clemente. And then when you got off our exit, there was our palm trees. And this is before even my husband. So it was almost like a knowing, like my soul knew, okay, you're going to be here pretty soon.
Mhm, mhm.
And that's how I was with here in Tennessee. Like there's just a
Yeah.
peaceful, a calming, a knowing here. Yeah. Okay. What is she saying here? I would say a knowing, like a deep connection. Yeah,
Mm.
like you. Yeah, sometimes I will share a story about my husband. I in a past life.
Mm.
Hmm.
Oh, I love to hear it. I think it's so amazing, isn't it? I instantly knew. I know we're getting off topic, but that's okay.
Now we
We're not
are.
really
Forget
on the
the
topic
faith.
tonight.
Faith is gone. Come on, faith. But in a way, this
Um,
does tie into faith because it's a leap of faith of knowing that that's where you're supposed to be,
yeah,
right?
you
Because
just have to trust it.
yeah, because we lived in California. I loved it there. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm grateful that my kids got to grow up next to a beach, go to the beach after school, whenever we were that close. But I never felt like it was home.
Mm.
You know what I mean? As here, I'm feeling more connected. But I do have to say, like I even tell my husband now, if God forbid, if something ever happened to him, I don't know if I would stay here. Maybe because the longer I'm in the house, I'll get the attachment more. But I would probably pack up and I'd probably go get myself a small little place in Sedona if I could afford it. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I would stay here, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about free will. That goes back to that free will, right?
Hmm.
We're in
Yeah.
our free will. We can choose what we want to do, what we don't want to do. And again, when you have a couple,
Yeah.
it makes it a little bit more. I'm so grateful. I feel eternally grateful that for my husband that we have the type of relationship. And trust me, I'm not bragging because we've been together 8 years. It's taken work to get there. But you have to understand when you have that type of relationship, like I said, I trust him with my life. So I know and he trusts me. Like when I say something or he says something, we fully trust that that's the right decision, whether like one of us want to do it or not. Like we'll all be in and we'll just do it. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, right? You're always like, we're not trees, we're not stuck. Once we put roots down, we're not stuck there. We can pick up and go again. And so that's the way we look at things. And a lot of people, I'm gonna tell you flat out, in my family think we're friggin' nuts, but that's the way we do it.
Yeah, but you know what though? But that is because they're conditioned to do it. This is how, the way you do it. You go, you get situated, you stop, you stay there, you
In a
grow.
house for 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years, you don't move around. And it's amazing. Like, but to them, because that's how they're conditioned, right? You get out of school, you get married, get a house, raise your kids, have that house, and then hopefully one day you sell it, and then the kids are going to come in and want your house. No, the kids don't want that freaking house. It's over, how many years old. It probably needs to be redone, whatever. But I would love to leave it to my kids, but they're probably like, no, sell that shit so we can go where we want to go. But it's just the way that they were conditioned. But that is, again, at least you're not listening to the outside. You're listening to what you need to do and what's best for you. Because like
Yeah.
we got it too when we got on last 2 years ago when we got on the road with the RV.
Mm.
So many people said, "Oh my God, I can't believe you guys are giving your jobs up. You guys are too young to retire." What else do we get? What about your grandbabies? Well, let me tell you something. The grandbabies don't pay mortgages or rent. Okay, they just don't. When you're in an RV, I could go see them. I'm not tied down, and then I'm also not tied down to the working man, to say, "Hey, can I have a week off so I can go see my grandkids?" You know?
Right.
So, and then when we're out on the road, you get everybody that does, man, you're living the dream. I wish we could do that. And I'm like, well, you just need to do it. No, we got to wait until we retire. Okay, if that's what you got to do. But for me and my husband, we have said it so many times. We're so glad that we did it when we did it because now, like some of those hills that we hiked when we first started, it's only been 2 years. I can tell you right now, thank God, because I don't know if my body can make it up some of those hills. So, you see those memes of people saying you wait for retirement.
Yeah.
And then you're in the crutches and stuff, and they're sitting there like, oh, that's beautiful. But they can't experience it because you know what I mean? Their bodies are just worn out. So it's like, do it now because you don't know if you're going to have tomorrow. You honestly,
Yeah.
You don't know if you're going to have tomorrow.
It makes sense. My one grandmother died young, about 62, and we were living on the island, Long Island at the time, and she had just moved out there, maybe like 6 months, and when she passed away, that was all she wanted to do was wait till she retired, wait till they retired to do something and blah blah blah. Well, there you are now 6 months later and you're not here anymore. That I think left a big impression on me as a child, that like 62. And then when my son passed, it totally, how I explain is it totally changes how you view life. At 27 years old, you don't think somebody's going to pass. He didn't think he was going to pass when he was sick. It totally changes. I tell my husband all the time, and we're 53. So it's like, we could pass it any day. So it's like, I want to live my life and not have any regrets. And I want to live it to where, not that you're out hurting or anybody or doing anything like that, but you're living your life according to your rules, the way that you think, you and your husband, whether you agree on it, should live your life. And I think that you should only live your life that way. That's my opinion. Everybody has their own opinions about it, but that's my opinion about it.
No, and I totally love it. And you know what? Now that I think about it, if I go back, I love how Cherie says her family jokes about when are you going to move again? So they move a lot, but they move when they want. Good for you. But
yeah, good for you, girl. You go.
The friends of ours that said you guys are too young, whatever, to do it. If you now that you think about it, most of them still have their mom and dad too. You're right. It takes that life-changing moment. My dad was I'm 53. My dad died when he was 55. So I consider that
Wow.
young,
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I always remember is my mom and dad talked about doing what me and Jeff were doing, the RV. Oh my gosh, as soon as we retire, we want to get on the road. We want to go do whatever, whatever. Well, that day never came, and that's how you think about it. I have an aunt and uncle. I was surprised. Well, no, I wasn't surprised. My one uncle, he's been wanting to do this forever, and he's finally retired. And the sad thing is my aunt has fallen a couple of times, so she has a really bad knee. He's having really bad hip problems. And so they can't sit that long, or at least he can't sit that long. And like he even says, he goes, I love him because I'm like, what do you think about me doing this? And he's like, you know what? He goes, do it. He goes, because that was what we said we were going to do. And look at us now, Anne. He goes, look at us now. Now we can't do it. We can't.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it is all about having faith. And that's one thing too. I knew we were going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just know it. Like even now when I get, worried about financial something, I might get worried, but I know we're going to be okay. Like I just know that something's going to happen. Like it just works out that way.
Have you ever thought about it? Because I know, like, even with my ex-husband and I, when we started out having kids and we didn't have any money, it was like something would break. Oh my God, how are we going to pay for this? Like the dishwasher broke, the fridge broke. We had just sunk all our money into buying a house, our first house. So we had like no money, and everything started breaking. And you worry, right? How am I going to do this? I need a fridge, and the money shows up.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the dishwasher breaks and the money shows up. And so I think for us, I know even for me, I've always trusted that no matter what, we're going to be okay, right? I always tell my husband, as long as we're together, that's all that matters. I know we're going to be okay as long as we're together because I know we're on the same team.
Yep. Well, that's where, you know what, I did a mindset because I would be one of those people, now that you talk about that, whenever we got a good, like, let's say a tax refund would come in, right? I'm not joking. We're like, oh, this is finally a good one that's coming back, right? I'm not making this shit up. My vacuum cleaner blew, so I had to go buy a new vacuum cleaner, right?
Exciting, right?
Yeah. Then the bulb light in the back of the TV, just a couple of days later went out. So you couldn't see any of the vision on the television. And we're like, oh my gosh, like what else can happen? Like there goes, but at least and we kept on saying, well, at least we have the money in the bank now to replace these. And then we were sitting down same day as the TV that it happened. We're sitting and all we hear is big boom. And we're like, what the heck? So we run outside, our garage door, the lever thing bent in.
Oh my gosh.
We had to get a whole new garage door. So we're like, are you freaking kidding me? But it was enough to pay for all that stuff, right? And maybe gave us a little bit less, but I don't think it did. Um, but then it occurred to me, and this is when also this whole manifestation and stuff, I didn't realize when I would go to bed at night, every night before I put my head on the pillow, I say my prayer, right?
Mhm.
I do my conversation with God. And that's funny. See how I do that? Because he's a man at that time. Conversation, it's so weird. We have to have one day conversation over that. But I sit down and I have the convo, and then I realized in my thing, I was always saying, please just get me enough so I can pay my bills and we can be.
Mhm.
So it was just always giving me enough
Right.
to pay the bills and be comfortable. Like, we still had a good life, but it just never seemed like we could ever get more. It's like, what are we doing wrong? Because that's what I was praying for. I just
Right.
needed a little. I never needed more. Now
Right.
I pray like, oh hell, shower me with money. Bring it on. Let my bank account just flourish. Let's do this. Let's do this. And I do have to say, like, I'm not raking in the bank, but again, I'm comfortable and we do have it. So that's, I think, when you put the limit on it, when you're saying out to universe, just give me enough just to get by. Well, guess what? That's what you're going to get. You're just going to get enough just to get by. And I really do
So,
believe how people say, oh, when it rains, it pours, because
oh
that's what
yeah.
we're putting out there, right? That's what we're putting out there.
And that you've been conditioned to believe that, because I was always taught, well, you don't. Everybody, there's kids starving in China. That's all I heard. There's kids starving in China. You don't need a lot of stuff. It's like you need this or just have enough or whatever it was. But I remember thinking, and things always happen in three, right? So I would always hear that. Things always happen in three. Bad things, they happen in
But
three.
it
So
does
bing bang
happen in
bing.
threes. Do you notice it does, though? It does happen in threes. Always. Always, always, always. Because even now,
Mhm.
I'll get like two bad things, and then I'm like, okay, shoot, what's that third? There's a third coming. Darn it. What is it? What
No.
is it? But it doesn't have to be life altering, but
Right.
there is a three. I don't know why. I don't know what that is. So if you can meditate on that and ask why
Well, I think
that
three
is.
it's a universal number, three. I get a lot of threes, and
Mm,
threes for me are really, really big. Normally they're good threes, but not always.
yeah. All right. So what did that card say again? So it was faith. So we got that. Like, it's true. If you want to do something, just jump.
It was
Just do it.
creation, I think. Creation it was. And my thing I've been getting is take a leap of faith. For me and my clients was leap of faith. Let's see if I can find it
But
again though.
that's it. Not only that, not only
Creation. Creation. Here it
creation.
is. Remember your thoughts, shape your future. Your words create today, and your choices become your reality.
Yep.
And so when you make those choices, we were talking about there's so many choices to make, right? It's like
Mhm,
I gotta think how my son in spirit explained it. It's like a smorgasbord, right? Or it's like all this stuff you can have. And if you're
mhm,
gonna go to eat at a buffet, right, you always get sick because you always get this, and this, right? But it is like that. You can choose everything that's there, but you're
mhm,
gonna be overwhelmed or sick from it. So it's like you take little bits and pieces, like he told me, like food to digest. We can't give you all the information at once because you'll be overwhelmed.
mhm,
So we feed you with bits and pieces
mhm.
so that you get these little bits and pieces, and they start to show you these paths for these choices that you're making.
Thinking,
And it
right.
makes total sense,
Oh,
doesn't it?
it makes total sense, because this is the thing. If well, yeah, if spirit came down and said, okay, yeah, this is what's going to happen. You're going to go to California for a little bit, then you're going to go out to Tennessee, and then you're going to probably, maybe move back to Sedona, and then this is where your career path is going to go. Well, how boring is that? There would be no drive in me. I wouldn't have to take the leap of faith because I know how it's all going to work out. So we're not experiencing everything because it's already been laid out for me and told to me. There's a difference between being laid out and with having the blinds on that I can't see what the outcome's going to be. So it pushes me forward, right? That if somebody said, okay, this is going to happen, but when you get to this time right here, you might get into like an accident or something. Well, then but you can plan for it. Well, then I'm just going to take a different road. It would be boring.
Yeah.
I think it would just be boring. Yeah. But getting back to, yeah, like you said, I even wrote it down as you were talking because I say this a lot: see it, be it, become it. You have to, like it says, the creator, you have to see it. You have to get very clear on what you want. And then you have to be it. So then you have to become that person that you want to become, right? And
Hmm.
then you got to do the actions to become it. You can't put it out there and say, oh, I want to be a millionaire. And then just sit down
Right.
and watch television thinking you're going to become a millionaire. No, you got to work for it.
Or think, how is this going to help for me? How is this going to work for me? I'm doing this tiny little gig here, like say comedian. My cousin is a comedian. And you're doing this tiny little gig in this shit little joint, how is this going to help me? I just want to be on the big stage, but you can't just go to the big stage. You have to start little and practice your craft is what I always hear.
Yep.
Practice your craft, because who you're becoming is not who you are today.
No,
Who you are today is not who you will be tomorrow. So
no.
you have to work at who that is. Like you said, who are you? Who are you really? Or who do you want to become? Well, that takes time and effort to invest in, like talking on the big stage, right? It's like, well, I don't know if I could do that. I mean, I remember being terrified in school of talking, like oral reports. I'd rather just get a zero than stand up there in front of a whole class and talk.
Yeah.
But now I do events and I talk online and I do interviews, and it's like I could have never have seen that for myself then, but it didn't start out like that. It started out little bits and pieces to get me trained to get to that spot.
Yeah. And that was the same with me too. I was
Mhm.
terrified of going live. I was terrified of making videos, but the more I do it, then I realized the only thing I was fearing is me. That was
Right.
it. Yeah, it killed Cherie too. Yeah, like
Sherry too. Okay,
and
so we're
Cherie,
all in this together.
yeah, she like her goal is like she wants to be on a stage one day and just share to the world everything that she has, and she has a
Oh,
lot of good stuff to say. But it's just taking that leap of faith and knowing that you can do it. It's just like us sometimes on our the show, right? I'll get off and I'll think I might have said this before that I'm like, oh, I just wasn't in the flow. I didn't feel like I was in it. And then I'll go and then my phone will ding and somebody's like, oh my gosh, I loved your show tonight. It totally spoke to me. And it's just like, oh, isn't that funny? Because to me, perceived it to be completely different, but how that person took it, they
right.
absolutely loved it. But what it is we took the leap of faith. We took the leap of faith of doing the show, and here we are. And the
So do you
more,
remember when you called me and
yes,
said you like,
I know. But the more we're doing it, the more we're getting more comfortable at it, right? We're getting
yes.
comfortable as looking at this screen because you are real. Oh, thank you, Cherie.
Oh,
You know what? That that statement right there, Cherie put too much fake stuff and acting out there. Absolutely. And I
I
think,
see it all the time in even podcasters, people who are spiritual. It has to be like in this perfect little box. And I think with you and I, we're not like that. It's like I'm here, I got like a background sitting here. I don't give a shit what it looks like, because it's like I'm at my son's house and I don't have any of my equipment. I left it all at home.
yeah, right? Like all I have is this is my meditation room, my office. And that's all
Hmm.
I have is like, and I have my little plant. And then I don't know if you can see over there, like I have
Oh yeah.
I have my meditation pillow and then my little board and then my thing where I keep all, so I can do my journaling right when I get a download if I'm meditating. And then all my
Hmm.
cards and stuff up there. That's it. That's all this room is. There's nothing like beautiful, whatever, because spirituality is the most beautiful thing. It is gorgeous. But when I am true to myself, that is when I flow better and I am in so much alignment. When
Yeah.
I'm trying to be and act like somebody else, and I have done it, do not get me wrong, I have done it, and it is the worst possible thing because it makes me doubt myself. I don't feel good. I don't feel comfortable in my skin, and it's because I wasn't being Anne.
Because you weren't being authentic. You were
Mm-mm.
trying to be somebody that you're not. And I think
Yeah.
for me, one of the biggest takeaways that I help my clients with is understanding that, right? It's like, who are you? Because we are so, even though we do the same thing, right? We are so uniquely different in our craft or how we do it,
Oh,
how we
absolutely.
come across. And I think when you're authentic, number one, and number two, you don't believe in competition. Like, I know the women that I attract in my circle are women who are very confident in what they do. It's like when somebody comes in the office, oh, you resonate with this one? Great, go ahead. I wouldn't want to work with somebody that resonated with somebody else and I was just in there trying to grab them. I want somebody to come to me and says, oh, I resonate with you. I saw your picture and I immediately knew. And then not to have that fear or that competition around it going, oh my God, I'm getting no clients, because I believe you get who you are supposed to get and you attract who you're supposed to attract and you attract who you are. So if I'm over here being fake, that's what I'm going to get. And it's like, I don't want that. I'd rather attract somebody that's authentic, that wants to come to me, that wants to learn, that wants to be in that position.
Yeah, I agree. There is a lady, her name is Deb LaFlame. I'll leave her thing down below, and she's for
Okay.
people who are just starting out, like, needing content. And no disrespect to her, because in the beginning I was so overwhelmed, like, okay, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to whatever? But then again, when I found
Well,
myself,
that's up here, right? It's
right?
the logic.
But when I found myself, I didn't need, because I listened to what it wanted me to get out there and say. But she does this really great thing, and I wish I had it, but I don't. So we'll do this. Oh, here, we'll do this. We'll use my little lighter and this pen. And so, like, this is, let's do it this way. Same exact pins, right? Do the same teaching, do everything. But this one might attract somebody more than this one. And that's okay. Like, you could have the same, doing the same thing, doing the same business, doing whatever, but somebody is going to be attracted more to this person's energy than this person's energy. But that's okay, because, and I know some people will be like, oh my God, why are they not coming to me? Because your energy didn't align. And why do you want that person anyhow? Because if
Right.
it didn't align in the beginning, they might come to you once, but you're probably not going to have them as a repeat customer because there was no alignment from the beginning.
And it's not a knock on you. It's like it has nothing to do with
Yeah,
you. It's all energy and it's energy based. So it has nothing to do with you. When you get out of that ego, right? When you pull your ass
yeah,
out of that ego, it's like, oh, is that what it was?
yeah. And it's true. And that ego, it will come to you. It'll be a pain in the ass sometimes. Like I always say, it's like, bye, Felicia. Like it needs to go. My ego, we had a hard thing with it. But now I recognize my ego. I recognize it when it shows up. That's when I have to stop myself and say, okay, is it really my ego? What is going on with me that's triggering me and making me feel this way? And then once I do that check in and I realize, okay, and you're just being jealous, or it's because that person has something that you want that you don't have yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? It is just that. And then once I get past it, I'm like, and I can move on again. As before, I probably would have got stuck in it. I would have totally got stuck in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you guys think out there? Let us know. Leave us some comments. What do you think, Shuri? Are you
Yeah.
on the same page here? I know you are. That's why I'm asking you.
Mhm. We all
But
have
anybody else who's
these.
watching the replay, let us know what you think.
Yes, please
Because
do.
I think it's important. I was also guided with that fake it till you make it shit.
Yeah.
Also did not resonate with me. I
No.
struggled for the longest time to find out who I was because I
Yeah.
was always looking, well, they did it this way. And the coaches you follow are, you do it this way, you do it this way. And it's like, it reminds me almost of the Stepford Wives.
Yeah. You know what? Me and Cherie were talking about this. She came on with me yesterday on my Instagram and we were live.
Okay. Hmm.
And we were talking about that is just stop following everybody, because I mean, that's how they're making money, right? This is how I made this much money. Come work with me. I can get you enlightened and stuff. And I'm going to say it again. I totally believe, even for me, we all still need mentors. You need to be with like-minded people if you're going to go down this path. Just
Absolutely.
on the path, you have to be with like-minded people. But you don't have to follow and act like those people and do what they do. Because when people are saying, oh, you have to do the reels and then you have to dance. And in the beginning, I
And
did
you
it.
have to hashtag it all.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking yesterday, like you're pointing and whatever. but that wasn't who we are. But then the funny thing is, you're doing everything that everybody else is. So you're not standing out. You're just now becoming the herd of sheep again. You're not being true to yourself. You just might as well just open the pen and then just let all the sheep in, get in line, and just go with them and close the gate, because that's who you are. And then now you're with all that group of sheep and you're wondering, why am I not standing out?
Mm.
Because you're doing everything they're doing. You're not doing anything different, and you're not being yourself. Let yourself out of the cage and truly become who you are. And then
Absolutely.
yeah. What is she saying? Yay! She's saying exactly. Oh, but did they? That's a good question. But you know what though? That's the one thing. I just got done with a lady on a reading early this morning, way too early. Forgot about the time change, and I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna try reading her at 6 o'clock.
I'm not even awake.
Ooh, yeah, my brain was like, spirit was like, seriously? No. But where was I going with this? But I
You were
forgot.
doing a reading this morning.
Yeah, see, there goes
Cherie said something.
my vintage aging right there. There it is. It just showed
I
up.
don't think it's that. I think we're going into the 5D and we're not going to need that shit no more. We don't need
Okay,
that memory.
I'll use that excuse. I'll use that. I will totally
Oh, look what I
do
just
that.
pulled. Friendship. I think this is what it's about, don't you?
Oh, yeah, reconnecting with people. Mm-hmm.
Be with the ones who make you shine, who love you and really care. Keep those and let others go. I think this is so crucial. I don't think we hear this enough either, do you?
No,
We need to be, like you said earlier, with like-minded people, people that understand us, people that want the best for you, regardless if they're over here struggling. They're happy to see you making bank and doing your thing and not worried about what you're doing because they got their shit going on. This is what we need more.
absolutely. We
That's
need
it.
more of those. We need our cheering sections to keep us going, just like we need to cheer them on. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Like, about not following other people in it's their path. Going back to the follow of the sheep and stuff. And as readers and as mentors and teachers, this is it. I can I can I'm very grateful that I have a spirit team that comes in that will share with what they might need to hear. Right? What spirit, it's not me, it's what spirit is telling me that they are seeing that they need to do. I can tell them, right? It might not be the right way, whatever, but I can tell them when I'm getting. It's up to them to take that seed that I planted. Either they're going to water it or they're just going to let that plant die.
Yeah.
It's up to them. And I can't in unless, like, okay, granted, like somebody's in one of my masterminds classes. Now I will call them. I will call them out and I will text them like, hey, what have we done? We met on Monday. Today's Thursday. Where are we? What have you done yet? Talk to me. And if they're like, oh, I haven't had a chance. And I'm like, but why? So, you know what I mean? And I might be kind of little funny. I'll be like, oh, so you paid for this to do nothing? You know what I mean? So, but
Right. You liked paying me to do nothing? Great.
they're paying me to keep them accountable.
Right.
Okay. But if
That's
they're
much different than doing a reading and guiding somebody what you're
right.
getting from spirit. When you're mentoring, it's like, hey, you need to be accountable. Well,
Yes,
what have you done? Nothing.
nothing. But if they, yeah, exactly. But if they come, have a channel, and we give them a download of something, I have to wash my hands and be like, okay, that's it. It's up to them now to take
Right.
it and do
Mhm.
something with it. But don't come back to me. And I do get a couple of those that will come back and they're still in the same position. And I'll be like,
Mhm.
okay, so what did you do? Well, nothing, because they didn't take that leap of faith.
Yeah.
They didn't get out of their comfort zone. They
Mhm.
just didn't do that one. And I'm not telling them to do a huge thing, right? Just take a baby step to that one goal. Just take one little step to help you get to that goal or that vision or whatever you see. Just take that one little step. And every
Yeah.
day it's like a snowball. It'll just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So
Mhm.
it goes to exactly what we started with. Faith. You got to just take the leap of faith. Because nobody's going to
Absolutely.
do it for you. Nobody's going to do it for you. And if
No.
they do it for you, if they do make the decision for you, then it's not your decision.
And it's difficult. I mean, like I'll tell you for going through it right now, it's not like we said earlier when you have other people involved, but they're not easy decisions that we
No.
have to make sometimes in our life. Sometimes we have to make more difficult decisions.
Yeah.
And I find the more difficult the decision, the harder it is.
Oh,
Some
absolutely.
people, I just find some clients, you can give them all the information in the world. They're just not ready to get there. I just said in my book, my new book's coming out soon. It is one of those books that some people are going to do it and some people aren't. They're going to get to a point where it's too difficult. It's
Mhm.
too much for them. They're going to stall. They may come back to it later, and that's up to them.
You
That's what
told
it
me
is
that.
about being
You
human.
said it's getting
Mhm.
difficult. Yeah, it's not for what did you
Mhm.
say? It's not for the kind of heart, is what I think you said, or
I don't
like
know if I
that.
said that. I said it's not for, I don't know, fainted heart. You gotta have some tough ass skin to do this Mary transmissions that are coming through. And you wouldn't think that about Mary, would you? But
Mm-mm.
that's a whole nother story. So Mary, yeah, I find that some clients, even when I'm working with clients, right? Some clients are just not going to be able to get to that spot. And maybe I think for us, sometimes we also, I know for me in the beginning, I took on, I was like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? Why can't I get them to do this and that? And then I realized one day, Spirit was like, it's not up to you. You're there to be a guide and it's up to them. It's like when you're raising your children, I was of the school, we have the same age children about.
Mhm.
I was always of the school. I raised my children a certain way. And when they got to a certain age, which is really difficult when they're teenagers, right? We have to let them go and we have to let them fail and we have to let them do things, make choices sometimes that are not their best choices. But
Right.
we have to let them do it in order for them to learn and grow. And I think that's the same way we feel about our clients is we give them the information. It's up to them to decide what they're going to do with it. And if they don't do anything with it, maybe right now they're not ready to do it. Maybe they'll come back to it later and say, okay, now I'm ready. I can do it. I find it's like a progression for everybody, and everybody has that free will, which I really love about being human is the free will.
I agree. And like Cherie just said, we are here for the long game. It's not a short term thing, which is totally fair.
Mhm.
But I do have to say that I I do have to say that I agree with that, but I do also need to say, there's that phrase out there that I'm sure that both of you guys have heard that just know that you're exactly where you are supposed to be. I need to do a thing. You know what? I think I'm going to put that up tomorrow. I call that bullshit on that.
I
I
love
call
that
bullshit
though.
on
I'm
that.
laughing because I love it.
I'm going to do it because I call bullshit on that. Yes,
Right.
there's when you are full in sync, things are going your way and you're, happy and just everything is in alignment, then yes, you're exactly where you need to be. But if you're sitting there and saying, okay, nothing's working out, but I'm exactly where I need to be, you're doing
You just don't want to do anything.
thank you. You're not, or you're not doing anything and you're getting stuck and not doing.
Mhm.
You're not taking that leap of faith. You're staying in the stuck zone because you're going back to that phrase that you heard. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Right. Which I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be stuck?
No,
No, you're not supposed to be stuck.
no.
But I do think those times sometimes we get into what do I call it? Like a lull or stagnant. I think sometimes we're trying to navigate, what that road is. Like we're like you feel it, right? I'm restless. I know there's something coming. It's like one of those things you're like, what is it? I can't get any clear information. Sometimes I have to tell you, I fucking sit here and I laugh because it's like a joke. It's like
No, I'm going through that right now. Like, okay,
Mhm.
well, this has happened throughout my life, right? Like, I get a giddy feeling, and I just know that something's going to happen. Like, one
Right.
day I woke up really tired when we were traveling. I was so tired, but yet I had this giddy feeling inside of me. And I even told my husband, we're getting in the RV and we're ready to go to our next location. And I'm like, I'm so freaking tired, but yet I'm so giddy inside. And I said, I don't
Mhm.
know why. And I'm trying to play out like what could happen that could get me so giddy. And then when we pulled up to the RV park that we were staying at, one of our old friends from California drove out and they
Oh.
met us there. And Jeff had it as a surprise for me.
Oh, so he knew.
Yeah, but my spirit was like, okay, Well, the last couple of days, I gotta look this up. Maybe you know, I've been waking up every day. This last full moon, man, is when
Oh, it's wicked.
it's been waking me up at 4:45. But I woke up today, like in that giddy, and I even have it kind of now. There's something giddy. So I know something is coming good because
Right.
I'm getting too it's like a giddy feeling. Like the soul is happy, like, and the box is like, dude, I just want to take a shower and go to bed. But the inside is like, oh no, something's coming, something giddy, something happening. So I'm like, okay, can we get here already? Because yeah,
Right. I
yeah,
love that.
yeah,
It's
me
so
too.
funny the way that it works, right? And we're just here thinking like, what the hell are we doing? I don't know how many times I like, just show me what to do. Like, I'm tired of playing like the little games sometimes, you
Mhm,
get to that point and you're like, just show me already, like you're feeling like it's like,
mhm.
all right, I feel it coming, but what is it? Just show it to
Well,
me.
well, that's just like, when Cherie's like, right, I started and stopped this journey so many times now. I
Mm.
say, oh, girl, me too. Been there, done that. In the
It's
beginning,
not for the
stop,
faint of heart.
start,
It's
nope, I
not.
stop, start, stop, start. But then when I got in line with myself and knew this was truly my path, yes. But to get back to what you're saying, yes, that's another thing. Because when I do readings, I will get like either it's just a feeling, I'll know, a knowing, or if the person has a question and I ask them to bring me, they'll give me like a picture or something. So I gotta interpret it. And it always amazes me how fast we can interpret. Like this comes so fast, but in my real life, there's no way I would be able to do that speed of dialogue watching television. But it will come and then like I'll get what did I get the other day? It was the weirdest thing. But let's just say so like I don't
Just
know.
like you need a catalog for each symbol you get.
Yes, like, but you know how some people say, "Oh, just remember them." I can't remember them because to tell you the truth, they change all the time. But like, let's say I'm thinking, okay, maybe this lady, I'm feeling that she's allergic to peanuts, right? Instead of just showing me allergic to peanuts or saying allergic to peanuts, just tell me. I get a jar of peanut butter, and then I'll see another
That can
picture
mean
of
she loves peanut butter.
it's like, oh my God, like seriously. And that's where I think people got to understand because, like you said, we all get our downloads differently.
Hmm.
And it is just like, oh my, like, it's just crazy. It's just
You
crazy.
know what that reminds me of? Like when you have a dream
Uh-huh.
and you get up and you're trying to interpret it. But for me, it's like as the morning goes on a little bit, I get more bits and pieces about what it was. So it's like if it was a shoe, it doesn't really mean a shoe, but I'll get like, oh, that meant it's time to walk somewhere. Or you know what I mean? So as I'm interpreting, as I'm going about my morning, because I'm not in that logical mind, I'm already in a different state. I'm starting to get more information about what that dream was and what the interpretation for me. So it could be like totally different because people are like, oh, like reading dreams and stuff. And I'm like, well, that doesn't resonate with me, like whatever the symbol is or something. I think one was like a white wolf sometimes and it was like danger. And I'm like, that's not what it means. I'm not getting that. That's what it means for me.
I don't get see, I get my dreams not as much anymore because like I do, I take a sleeping aid because if not, it is like a nonstop movie theater in my freaking head. Um, but when I get the movies or a dream that comes to me, it will feel so real, and I know why I'm sleeping. I know that it's a dream because I'm telling myself this is a dream while I'm asleep. But
Right.
then when I wake up, it is gone. It is so gone. Because I've had people say, "Oh, keep a notebook." And sometimes I used to, when it's a message that comes through over and over, then yes, I know. Okay, grab a piece of paper. There's something coming through. But if it's a dream that's very crystal clear, but by the time I get up or whatever,
Mhm.
I don't remember my dream. I would love to. I'm fascinated how people can, do the dream
Yeah.
thing. They remember their dreams. I'm like, dang. No,
I
I'm not.
find if it's really important, it's like a banner, like Tennessee. It'd be like if I need to know that, it's like Tennessee. It'll be like right there, and I hear it like over and over. Like in my sleep, I actually hear it, the word over and over again. They really want me to know what that is. They really do that because I'm the same way. I take melatonin at night, and it's like I'm drugged on 20 different drugs. I wake up in the morning, but I do know that when I do dream, it's because I need to remember those dreams and whatever those symbols are. So what do you think,
Wow,
Cherie? You
that's
have dreams that you remember? Anybody else out there have dreams that they remember or different symbols? I know symbols again are another thing that's so different from everybody. When I read for clients too or do mediumship sessions, and they'll show me one thing for somebody and something for somebody else.
yeah. And I just had somebody on DM me saying they're loving the show. Aw, thank you.
Oh,
Jump
thank
on here.
you.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
cool. You need
You
to come
don't have to
on.
show your face. You don't have to show your voice. You don't have to
Yeah,
chat. You can just be,
yeah. Like
what do they
Cherie,
call that?
we
Hmm.
can't see Cherie. We can see what she's writing, but we can't see her face.
Right.
So,
I think more and more share it out to people that you like. I mean, people that you like, people that you think will like it. Only share it with people you like because we only want like-minded people. No, I'm just kidding. Because, honestly, I'm not a yes person. I don't want people to tell me, oh, yes, I love it if you don't friggin' love it. I want you to tell me the truth or tell me what we can improve on because there's always things that we're willing to keep going and work on too. So we
mhm.
appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Do you have
Oh,
anything
hold
else to add?
on. Cherie did put. She's like, I remember some dreams, not at all. So yeah. So
Oh,
see,
yeah.
it's different.
Hmm.
Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry,
So we're
Cherie.
finishing up our show. If you'd like to like, subscribe, and share our videos, we'd really appreciate it. It really helps us so much.
Mhm.
And we are so appreciative of everybody that sends messages or hops on or says they like it. We really are. We're working really hard over here at doing our thing and keeping it real. And we will catch you next week. We won't be live. We have a guest, Debbie, coming on to talk about some spiritual things that she's experienced. But then after that, we're going to be live again. So we look forward to seeing you. Thanks for joining us, our number one fan, Cherie. Where's
Yes,
Cherie
Cherie.
from? I want to give a shout out to where she's from. Where
Florida.
she's Florida. All right, Cherie in Florida. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Yes. Bye.